Hello everyone. Nice to meet every one of you. The last time you saw me on this channel, on these screens, I was streaming some Pokemon, some challenge run of a Acrom of Pokemon Red. Maybe perhaps even some of you here in this call watched a bit of that. I'm not sure of that. This time we're doing something quite different. This time we're doing Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm here with I am Fabrizio. I will be the dungeon master for this adventure, and here is my cast of four other amazing people that are. I can either introduce you guys or you can take turn introducing yourself as you wish.
So who goes first? Shall I go first then?
Yeah. I mean,
Hi,
let's go in sort of screen order. Okay, so that would be
okay.
you first.
Hi everyone. My name is Hein Ragas. I have been playing role-playing games for 34 years now. And under the name of Cappy Barbarian, I publish my own scenarios. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Also, your experience would be greatly appreciated as my role-playing career actually started in 2016. So I have been both playing and DMing in a way shorter time. So I definitely love having you here. Okay, so next stop is I suppose Anthony.
Yes, I am Anthony Hernandez. Uh, I've been playing D&D for, let's say, 4 years now. Started with 5e and then, retroactively played other ones. Uh, I infrequently post on my blog, which is darklands.blog.wordpress.com, with monsters and scenarios and reviews and things like that. Uh, Looking forward to the game.
Yeah, that's great. I'm thanks for being with us. It's awesome to have you too. Now our two other guests. Um, I think Will. If you're, are you hearing us, Will?
That's right. My
Okay.
name is Will, and y'all can call me Will. Yes, it's computer's a little old, so it's a little slow on the uptake sometimes. But I am here. I can hear you. It's all good.
Okay. Oh, no worries. Hardware is a bit of an issue here as well. I actually had to lower the resolution on the stream for this one because it was kind of having hiccups. But I mean, I don't think anyone is watching this on full screen, full HD or anything like that. It's not really needed. Unless you really want to look at the battle map, who in any case will probably not be used that much, if at all, today. Okay, so hi T, as our last player.
Uh, Sorry
Last
about
but
that.
not
I just
least,
woke up.
no worries.
Hi, my name's T. Uh, I've been playing D&D for like 10 years now. I'm primarily an artist. I work freelance full time.
Yeah, your stuff is amazing, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
No, you're welcome. So, excuse me, Will and Anthony, remind me, how long have you been playing with? Four. Have you been playing four? Sorry.
Yeah, about
Uh,
3-4 years, something like that.
Okay. So Will and I are basically tied for the youngest in as D&D players here.
I've actually also been playing for about 10 years. I've been dungeon mastering for most of that too.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm definitely either D or the second. Hello. Hello. Chicca di risotto 01. Kind of a peculiar nickname to have to say out loud. Nice for you to be here. It's a pleasure to have you. Okay, so as for myself, as said earlier, I am Fabrizio. I have been playing role-playing games since 2016. Started as a player in a 3.5 campaign. Then I had some experience DMing 3.5, and I ran 1 2 year long campaign in 3.5, a homebrew setting. And after that, basically, I ran it with two parties at once. And after finishing it with the first party, I sort of decided that I still love 3.5, but I am never DMing it again. And yeah, no, it was just we arrived at the end of the campaign that I was basically ignoring half of the rules or changing them mid play anyway, and I also was something of an OCD dungeon master in the initial stage of my DM career. I used to do things like plan plan stuff to the very last detail, and I had this huge pages with sort of what are the chances of the party to get lost? What are the chances to get lost in this in a specific direction? For how long they will? I got really in deep with those details, and we ended up playing 20% of what I have actually prepared for. And in that 20%, a lot of my prep went out of the window anyway. So I learned a bit of how to make some more synthesis in the preparation, but also I decided that 3.5 prep and crunch as a DM is really not something I want to experience again. So I haven't been able to actually run a full 5e campaign up until now, but I have run some adventures of various length, including actually the one we are doing session 0 for today, because this short adventure, or we can call it a long adventure or a short campaign, I don't know. But anyway, Revenge of the Scorcher Queen was actually played live about a year and a half ago. I was with some friends and family, and it took us basically a day. We started playing in the morning and ended around 7 p.m. And oh, hello Sam. I'm not going to pronounce all of those numbers. But hello Sam, nice to have you here. So this adventure was actually already played, so I have a lot of my notes from the last time. I feel a bit more confident actually running it online. And this adventure is set in a homebrew setting that I'm going to quickly introduce you. This word is called Thageia, written Thageia, and Thageia was born as a nautical and seafaring focused setting that I specifically thought up when I was shifting from 3.5 to 5e. While my other homebrew setting was more from the 3.5 days. So Thageia was born with the purpose of being 5e setting with a focus on sailing and oceanic exploration and sea-themed adventure and campaigns. And it evolved into a bit more than that. It gained a bit more identity over time, and right now the focus on the right now. I'm activating my webcam again. am I able to write? Okay, I am glad this happened today and not when we were in the actual campaign.
Get the rest of out first. Session 0, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're trying out all the technical issues as well. What's the hiccup with the webcam? Okay, just one sec. Whoops.
Discord can be a bit finicky with webcams, picking that up.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's not really Discord's fault right now. It's because of a problem with how Twitch Studio it's more a problem of how Twitch Studio interacts with the webcam. Okay, I'm sorry, because apparently yeah, I kind of have to try doing this. And
It's not a proper video call if there are no technical issues.
absolutely, absolutely, it's not ever a proper video call if there are no technical issues. I am asking the chat if they are able to hear us, because I might be forced to go without webcam for a bit, because given how Twitch Studio interacts with Discord video call, the only other okay, good. The only other way that I have to fix the issue would be to interrupt the streaming again and then get back, because apparently it sort of reacts differently depending on the order that I open the softwares in. So what I was saying, and I will cut it short. I will cut it short. Thageia is a word that is made of mostly a vast oceans with a lot of huge islands and huge archipelago, and yeah, and a number of seafaring empires and powerful maritime nations that vie for control. And also, Thageia is a word that is fundamentally on the brink of change. It's not the usual strictly medieval European-like Western-focused fantasy setting. It's more, speaking of both tech level, culture, and a lot of other issues, is more like early Renaissance, let's say. As for something that is a commonly gunpowder, right? Gunpowder, for example, in Thageia is something that is really only starting to appear. Mostly, we are at that stage in gunpowder development in which cannons exist and are starting to become somewhat commonplace. Because the richest of nations and the people who can afford the biggest ships. On the biggest of ships, you can see cannon. You can see sometimes them on in fortresses, siege scenarios, something like that. While personal firearms are something that barely exists at all. Only some of the most technically advanced states that use non-magical technology, like the Kingdom of Aokaja, are starting to use personal firearms. but we are still in the stage in which that is almost more of a rumor than a certain fact. So basically, if you are someone that has knowledge about military or political developments, you might know that some elite troops in Nation X are starting to have a new kind of weapon, something like mostly muskets and stuff like that. While, for example, even the flintlock pistols, for example, is something that is still not really around. Even though I might expect an artificer to be able to use something like that. But it's really something that is only right now starting to happen, and mostly because of the particular time period, and it creates a more interesting conflict to me than a war that is purely pre or post gunpowder. It allows to integrate it in a game without having to change the whole rules, rebalance a lot of stuff, because it's something relatively new and uncommon that kind of makes sense for only the player characters or very special encounters to have. So that said, I will stop talking in a couple seconds and leave and pass it up to the cast, to the party, and you guys are gonna introduce whatever you want to already tell the rest of the party and our viewers about your characters and the party uh, that will play this adventure. So sorry, I'm having vocabulary shortage live on air.
No worries.
Okay, please have at you.
I guess I'll go first. So I'm playing a Kobold Battlemaster called Ordo. Uh, uh, he's a part of a Kobold clan that uh, doesn't necessarily like worship dragons, although they definitely revere them. And if one were close by, they would probably help out. Um, their whole deal is kind of sending out the best of their people uh, to go and try and find dragons and just kind of like get tutelage from them and learn from them and then bring it back to their clan and integrate it. And that kind of also, like the pinnacle is the top. That's what they want more than anything to get knowledge from. But they'll take humans, they'll take, half orcs or goblins or whatever. That seems to make sense. That seems to work. And then just try and integrate it into their clan. So he's someone who, has always been a good fighter, and he's been set out on this journey to just try and do that. Not exactly like a rite of passage, but kind of a similar vibe to that, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I mean, it's sort of more ongoing than a rite of passage from what I gathered. It's not like he has to do that one singular thing and then he's back to the community.
Right.
Sort
Exactly.
of like it's his vocation in a sense. So he will go around doing that for a certain period of time that might be of any duration, basically.
Exactly. Like pretty much. Have you found a dragon yet? Have you learned from that dragon for a couple of years? No? All right. I guess you're still out there. Like kind of that kind of thing.
Funny Italian guy on the chat is asking if is it some sort of cult or fate. I'm letting you answer before adding something in.
Like fate? No, I wouldn't say it's like. I wouldn't say. Like maybe my character personally doesn't believe that. Maybe other people a part of the Ordo clan believe it's fate. But Ubo would just chalk it up to hard work and dedication to one's clan. Uh, uh, so yeah,
Yeah,
I guess that's
I.
her
Oh,
interpretation.
sorry. I think that in general, most of kobolds in Thageia have a view of dragon that is semi-religious, but not exactly. Especially the Ordo clan, it is not exactly a cult in any organized way. There is definitely for some individuals more than others a partially spiritual aspect in their interest in dragonkind and draconic lore, but it's more the degree to which that this universal interest is spiritual is really dependent on the individual. And one thing that I proposed to Anthony when we were discussing the character is that um, the Ordo. Am I saying it right? Ordo clan.
Yeah, the Ordo clan.
Okay. It might be from the way from how he described it, sort of a kobold community that is as interested in mining for knowledge and lore as the usual kobold community or clan is interested in mining for ore or other kind of resources. And I don't know if you what do you think of this general vision, but
Yeah, I'm vibing that for sure. 100%.
one thing I wanted to propose to you and ask you. I can definitely see Thageia having some more sea-oriented kobold communities because instead of I see kobold communities in Thageia being mostly of one or three types. Let's say wild, in a very broad sense, wild kobold tribes are the sort of the D&D default, the isolated community that lives in a cave system, mine, mountain, out far from civilization, on their own, and in some kind of natural landlocked, mostly underground habitat. Then there are city kobolds, and those live particularly in the live underground under some major cities, and actually have a sort of an alliance with that city in particular because in exchange for protection and other benefits dependent on a case by case basis, they sort of maintain the whole underground infrastructure of the city. And the third type of most common kobold community might be something like seaside or even seafaring kobold colonies that live on atolls near reefs. And the most interesting, I totally envision some of these kobold colonies living on huge moving or semi-moving structures. Something like what were those things called in Moana? Those things from Polynesian folklore. Those little guys on the huge Mad Max style raft. Let me
Oh man,
the
Mona, I can't
Kakamora, the
remember.
Kakamora. They were called the Kakamora. And let me show you actually. I'm talking about these guys. And point is, okay, they're not showing. I can find something, some images of the whole raft from. Let's see. Okay. My main point is that I can totally envision. Whoops. I can totally envision Thageian kobolds, some communities of Thageian kobolds, living on something like this. If you can, I'm not sure if you can see it right now if you can see it properly. Oh, okay, no, it's because it's on the wrong tab. Okay, whoops. Did I accidentally? Yeah, I did do that. I'm sorry. Reinstating. I'm gonna get better at this, I swear. I'm re-entering the
You're good,
game. Oh, you also saw a sneak peek of my other games there. Maybe, perhaps one day there will be streams of those as well. So while I reload the map. Okay, let me do this. Okay, finally. Oh, thanks a lot. Let's see if it. Okay, we're gonna go with this. Point is, I can totally envision some Thageian Kobolds communities living on something like this kind of structure, moving or not. And what I wanted to ask you, even if I used way more time than it was necessary to do that, is which of these three kind of clans and communities do you think the Ordo clan is?
Yeah, based on the lore that was sent, I think there's a lot in Sevesta that the Ordo clan just kind of gels with. If there's a subsect of Kobold clans that go and work underneath and kind of maintain the underground sewers or whatnot of like a town or a city, I could see the Ordo clan doing that and living in Sevesta
Oh yeah,
under
that
a.
that would explain their interest for their particular openness toward outside cultures. And
Right, 'cause they're
yeah,
already
I
living
can
in.
definitely see that, especially if this happens in a Sevestan city that has some kind of big library or learning institution. And I will let you have more material on that before the next session. I got at least one candidate for that. So okay. So that's our Kobold Battlemaster. If there's anything else you want to share about it with the chat, otherwise we're going on.
No, that's the long and short of it, pretty much.
Oh no, I have a question for you about actually weapons and fighting styles, and also if you want to sort of describe him.
Yeah, so he's typical kobold height. He wears heavier armor. Um, that's all like not really super well kept, but for a kobold, pretty shiny for a kobold. He uses a rapier and a whip.
Ooh.
Um, so he can pull off tricks on the battlefield, pull some unexpected stuff. Hopefully, he's green, and his entire clan are all green kobolds that are like not as beefy looking as normal kobolds.
Uh-huh.
Um, uh, uh, and that's pretty much what he looks like. That's pretty
Okay,
much
okay,
him.
that's great. Loving him, especially the choice of weapons. I want to see that in action.
Oh,
The rapier whip combination for a battlemaster can do some interesting stuff. And also, I can envision this guy be a total pain in the neck for a lot of enemies. I mean, it's extremely small green lizard going around, basically devastating the legs of everyone around them. Especially if we combine something like the whip with the battle master and pack tactics.
That's a synergy I was going for. He's got
Yeah.
pack tactics, 10-foot reach. Anybody who's an ally only needs to be within 5 foot of the person they're fighting, and then trip them,
Yeah, I
trip them
think
and hit 'em.
you and T are gonna be the striker team, especially considering the others. Okay, so let's pass it up to, you know what, you choose who's the next one.
Who chooses?
You choose the next character to introduce themselves.
Sure. How about Cappy?
Okay, great.
Yeah. So I'll be playing a druid, a human druid called Darrett. He is originally from a warrior caste, but doesn't really have much interest in fighting. Was more content to study his books, and yeah, I'm thinking he's from an agricultural background.
Okay.
He left his parents' farm to his younger brother, and I was thinking that it would make, maybe the farm burned down in an accident, and his younger brother had to take on a lot of debt to get back on his feet. And now Darrett is kind of back in the saddle, doing warrior caste things, and working as an adventurer to to basically to pay off his younger brother's debt.
Oh, so that's a cool motivation. I very much like that. As a further explanation for the chat when Cappy mentioned the warrior caste thing, his character Darrett comes from a nation called Veradrev, and that nation as a sort of horizontal caste system in which most of the population is part of either one or of two religious castes. One of those is the Verazi, and is sort of like a loosely translates as a warrior caste, and so they are focused on leadership, martial training, sometimes diplomacy, stuff like that. And the other caste is the Drevites, and they are loosely translated as the priest caste, and people from each caste are usually raised for a number of professions and social roles that fall under the purview of their own caste. No one caste is superior to the other. No Verazi thinks he's better of any Drevite of the same rank, or vice versa. And the Supreme Council of Government asks people from both sides of the fate and caste system, but they are somewhat strict in their division. There are cases of case transition, but they are very rare. They must be vetted thoroughly. And so Darrett is an interesting character because he's a Verazi with some Drevite inclination that probably brought him to discover Druidism. And one thing I wanted to ask you about Darrett is does his interest in the sea and in water-based magic or things come from before or after he discovered Druidism? So how did it came to be a druid, and specifically a coast circle druid at that?
That's a good question. Thageia being a a world with lots of water, I think it makes sense to have at least a passing interest in getting around.
Yeah, unless you live very inland in some limited places. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess let's see.
I would
Well,
say. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
the best way of learning is by traveling around and seeing what you can find and visit libraries and temples to learn from the local knowledge. So I guess that could have been his introduction, let's say, towards nautical adventuring.
Okay. As for his approach to druidism, there are some druids that are focused more on nature, as in wildlife, ecosystem, and living beings, and some druids who are more focused on the elemental aspect of nature. Looking at the spell list, I do get the opinion that Darret is more in this second category, or more elementally focused druids. Am I right?
Yes, so I think Darret's a role in an expedition, in any nautical expedition, would be to ensure foraging on islands. There's this spell, Purify Water, which could be used to desalinate seawater into drinkable water in a pinch, and stuff like that. Controlling wind and fog, that would be his role in the expedition to aid the running of the ship.
I'm doing this for a second to remedy the fact that I have no access to my Discord webcam right now. So I'm putting in my webcam on the overlay. Okay, so next up, I'd say we have either Will or T, their choice, with their own cool characters to introduce us.
Let's hear from T first.
Okay, great.
Okay. I'm playing a half-elf noble, kind of lower down in her family line, so she figured the best way to kind of get out there and make a name for herself was to join up with one of the guilds and work her way through the ranks. She kind of just kind of naturally went towards the oh crap, I just forgot the guild's name.
Okay, it's the moons on the waves, or on the wave. I actually sometimes forget if it's singular or plural. I think I have written it either way.
It's kind of naturally gravitated towards them, since there's an abundance of water on around their continents.
Yeah. Also, she's from. Am I right in saying she? Right.
Yes.
Okay. I'm forgetting the names. Let me check. I have TND Beyond open on. Okay, Altana. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, Althana.
Althana. Okay. My TH is gonna be on and off for the duration of the adventure. I'm gonna say Altana sometimes or Althana others. Sorry about that.
I mean, I have no problem with it.
Okay, so she comes in fact it absolutely makes sense that she gravitated towards the moons on the waves, as you said, because she comes from the nation of Haukaja, which I'm going to write the name in the chat for you guys. And I wanted to ask you if you guessed the pronunciation given from our earlier chats, because we are gonna have some fun moments with spelling and pronunciation.
Oh, of the place that she's from, of
Yeah.
Haukaja?
Yeah.
I I assumed it was something along those lines. Some of the other names I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I was kind
Could
of
do.
wondering if one of us would end up saying something like Haukasia or something like that, but no, it's supposed to be Kaja, but I mean, anyway, do as you wish. And this we will might have not exactly issues on this, some moments on these kind of things because I'm just because I'm Italian, and so my default is if I have no reason to think otherwise, I pronounce words phonetically uh, as they're sort of as they're written. And okay,
Makes
so
sense.
did you mention your class already?
Oh, I'm playing a Kensei monk.
Yeah, that's great. Kensei Monk is actually
Uh,
one of my favorite classes flavor-wise. The idea of combining monk characteristics with more of a armed combat focus is great to me. I love that.
and from what you were saying, it was pretty fitting for her home continent. So
Yeah, especially if you're a noble cadet, because since you are so from what you said, you're very far in the line of succession, and sort of like they would need to basically exterminate at least a couple generations of your family before you become leader of the house, and
yeah, which
and
isn't something I'm looking to do myself.
yeah,
So
absolutely. And so that leaves Altana in a position in which she would probably have received either let's say clerical or mystical training, or administrative training, or martial training, or kind of a mix of the three. And it fits. It really fits with the choice of class. Also, Haukaja is a nation that has a very wide, specifically half-elf presence. The ruling dynasty is actually half-elves, which kind of makes a lot of other people, a lot of other people, other human noble dynasties a little bit sour, because obviously changing rulers is something that takes a long time when the rulers live one and a half time the lifespan of many of their subjects.
oh yeah, for sure.
And I wanted to ask you something about your class again, because I wanted to ask if Altana's monk training is do you see it as more spiritual, or more as a sort of practice of the mind, of a philosophy? In which ways would you call a monk exactly?
Hmm. Uh, when I was thinking about it, I honestly was thinking more for the actual martial training itself. But assuming there's something uh, like the Japanese samurai caste or something along those lines, it is probably also a sort of way of life and belief system sort of thing.
There probably is. I mean, in general, I associate, especially for the fact that they can use key, that I am probably going to rename in a more appropriate way for the campaign. Especially for the fact that they use key, and so a form of mystical energy. The D&D monk has to have, at the very least, some sort of familiarity with a semi mystical practice, because it's not just a purely physical or technical martial arts, given the way the monk works. That said, it can be a technique that is partially arcane or partially psionic, or partially spiritual. Really, depending on the monks, on the specific monk, probably you could justify. Um, you could make 3 or 4 monks of the exact same subclass and justify their key in 3 or 4 different ways. For example, if you make a 4 elements monk, I could see it as a practitioner of an arcane martial arts. I could see them as people with sort of a base in a particular form of druidism, or they could be worshippers of a deity of nature, or anything else actually. So you're not required to have the answer to this today, or even at all. Just something I was curious if you had sort of. I mean, do you think she practices some kind of spiritual or meditation routine? How does she access those undeniably mystical abilities she can sometimes manifest?
As far as that goes, I was definitely thinking more something like some form of meditation, not necessarily just like, sitting to meditate, maybe some form of like Tai Chi or yoga type situation.
Okay, I very much like that. Anything else you want to say or explore about your character before we pass it up to Will?
No, I mean, unless anybody else had any more questions, no, I think we're good.
Okay. So, Will, up to you. I'm gonna say that I just now read the name of your character, and I am loving that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So my character's name is Carnifax. He is a Lizardfolk Order of the Scribe wizard.
Yeah, that's sick.
His wizard knowledge is passed down from master to apprentice. Upon completion of training, the master makes a copy of their spellbook and hands it off to their apprentice. Written spells are fairly new to his village, so this practice has only been going for a very short amount of time. He has 2 major interests: his love of eggs, which he goes from full intellectual wizard to full-on lizard as soon as he sees an egg.
Yeah,
And
if you any one of you that remembers the lizard from Rescuers Down Under, Joanna, he basically becomes that.
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Highlight of the film.
Yeah, absolutely. That and the eagle. I mean, I watched the film just for those 2.
I just watched it the other day for that reason too, for Joanna and the damn eagle.
Yeah, the fun fact is that I think that actually the specific species that Joanna is supposed to be is called Goanna or Goanna, actually.
Oh,
That's
cool.
interesting.
So that there is a monitor type lizard that is called a something like Goanna or Goanna, and I think the movie Joanna is supposed to be that. So okay, were you saying about his other interests besides eggs?
His other interest besides eggs is learning about the emotions of the soft folk, because it's strange and alien to his people. They don't feel emotion like everything else. A tiger isn't scary. A tiger is a threat and should be avoided, but it doesn't cause like a gut-wrenching fear of, oh man, that could kill me. It's, that could kill me. I should probably walk around it.
Yeah.
So these emotions are just strange and alien, and he wants to understand them, and will probably react inappropriately in certain situations, like laughing during sadness, because he doesn't know where he's supposed to laugh.
Yeah, I was actually also you. We will see the token later. You drew an amazing portrait of Carnifax, which is very crocodilian like. So I wanted to ask you how much of a facial expression can he actually make because especially if you since you said and we determined that his particular tribe of Lizardfolk is very much crocodile-like in appearance. That would probably need to their lips, if they even have mobile lips, to be even more rigid than the average Lizardfolk. I assume some degree of lips mobility just because they need to be able to somewhat speak. But I wanted to ask you how wide a range of facial expression do you envision Carnifax actually physically having?
I imagine his facial expressions match the amount of emotions he actually feels. So very small. His way of smiling is if you've ever seen an alligator or a crocodile bask where they lay there with their mouth open, that's basically how he smiles. If he's just standing there with his mouth open, it's probably just him trying to smile. And it's probably very unsettling because that's a lot of teeth.
I love the aesthetics of that. I really love the aesthetics of that. Um, I mean, lizard folk in general are a super favorite race of mine. They're quite funny. The emotionless portrait is very interesting. Even though sometimes I struggle to actually use the emotionless term because actually emotionless is something that is kind of weird to role play or put in a story as a character. So I kind of prefer to say that they have, as you said, a very alien brain that has a different understanding of logic, emotion, and feeling. They just feel in a very different way. And yeah, a part of that is lacking the emotional intensity of many other humanoids. And yeah, that thing about the open basking mouth is absolutely a spectacle of a mental image to have. And yeah, that's great about the wizard and spellbook thing. The one thing I would add is that probably, as we discussed earlier in the group, is not exactly is not writing per se that is a recent innovation to your tribe probably, but the fact that your character actually has a paper spell book with proper pages. While I think previous mages of your particular tribe did use some form of writing, but their writing based wizardry used some other kinds of supports like tablets, even body painting, stone carvings, and a lot of stuff like that that is perhaps more intense and powerful than using a paper spell book, but it lacks the immense versatility that Carnifax probably has with his experimental new techniques. If you're fine with that idea.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Because probably I like what this the way this portrays both your character and the surrounding culture. What do you think your master thinks of the interest you're taking in these new experimental ways and sort of updating the clan's techniques and trying out this weird book stuff?
He probably finds it strange, but he can, like most of his folk, he can see the potential behind it because everything is about how can this help me now?
Yeah. And definitely, if you are interested in traveling, your master would surely recognize that something like that is way more practical to for traveling than other forms of. I would like to call it sigilmancy to describe that particular sub school of magic. Oh, fun Italian guy asks if Lizardfolk have cold blood. By default, D&D lore, yes, they have. Honestly, in my opinion, you guys can tell me what you think about that. In my opinion, that is kind of stupid. Because even though they do have a more primitive society, Lizardfolk are still depicted to have a society and a culture and and being capable of being full-time adventurers that can sustain the metabolism of any other and the lifestyle of any other humanoid. And I just don't see a fully cold-blooded creature be able to do that, because the lizard folk have human-like intelligence, and maintaining that kind of brain requires a lot of energy and requires heat. The brain is the most energy-intensive part of the body to make it function, and I just don't see any society being able to arise if you have to stay still and bask in the sun for half of the day and be incapable of doing anything at night. Especially considering the fact that you have dark vision, by the way, and live near water. So I really don't see lizard folk be fully cold-blooded, though I can definitely see regulating their temperature in a different way than other humanoids, and perhaps I can definitely see they have them have partial ectothermy as being capable of being more active in the heat and suffer cold a bit more than other humanoids. I don't know. Do you guys tell me what you think about that? I always thought that saying that reptilian races in D&D are cold-blooded in the same way lizards or iguanas are is kind of dumb.
I also
Yeah, once they're cold-blooded, they have kind of the same problem as, what is it, like Locath, where they have to be in water for a certain amount of time each day?
Yeah.
Having never really played Lizardman, I never thought of it, but yeah, that's definitely
Oh, yeah,
limiting. Dumb.
I think you're right. They're low cap. The weird like fish people. They need to be submerged for like 4 hours.
Yeah, but that I can see more. I mean, that's a thing about hydration, because after all, they live most of their lives. They live in an environment that doesn't need to have impermeable and water retentive skins the way surface species has. So to me, the fact that Sawagi need to submerge themselves and stuff like that makes way more sense than saying lizard folk are cold-blooded.
and also if Carnifax would be cold-blooded, then that would severely limit his possibilities as an adventurer.
Yeah,
And I don't think that
and 5e,
that makes sense.
like not even 3.5 gave you that limitation, and normally default 5e lizard folk just don't have that mechanically, and don't trying to have that story wise while everything else basically contradicts it. It's not something I am particularly a fan of. um, oh yeah. Yeah, all of those comments are definitely on point. Um, though I would love to see some sort of mechanic integration of cold-blooded playable species. But yeah, Thageia and Lizardfolk by default are not that. However, you want to justify that, the arguments in the chat about gigantothermia are all correct, all make sense. Also, I do love the idea of incorporating some particular aspects of reptilian biology into playable D&D races, because that leads to cool results. I have actually published a reptilian race on Drive-Thru RPG, the Clamians, that they are based on the frilled lizard, and they have basically they are sort of like psionic kobolds, and a lot of their ecology and biology is based on a very pronounced sexual dimorphism, in which the males develop their psionic powers towards the arcane, and sort of become a psionic equivalent of sorcerers, while females become physically stronger, larger, and gain clerical-like psionic powers. And that was fun to do. That's also available on Drive-Thru RPG for free, if I can shamelessly plug myself. Okay, so now I'm gonna say one last thing before leaving it to you guys again. We saw each of the every member of the party. They're all amazing. They're all a fun fan characters, great interesting concepts, and I love the way you guys have integrated and considered the lore of the world and actually helped me expand it. Do Lizardfolk have disjointed jaws like serpents that can eat an entire egg? I would say some of them do. I am not sure if Carnifax's clan, being more crocodile-like, is of that nature, but he probably has a very wide angle of jaw opening anyways. So unless it's something like a dragon egg, he can probably bite it anyways. So your characters are going to be, as you obviously know, are going to be members of an adventuring guild that has been hired for a very peculiar and delicate job that we will discuss in a bit. And I presented the party a choice of viable guilds that were that made sense to be contacted for the mission at hand, and they chose a guild that is called the Moons on the Waves. And the Moons on the Waves is a guild that is based on it's the best guild around for nautical related quests. Basically, they are a loosely organized seafaring adventuring guilds that does a lot of various kind of adventuring on the sea, oceans, rivers. Basically, if it does not involve a large body of water, they don't even bother looking into the quest. And the Moons on the Waves also are really factionalized compared to other guilds. as in they have a much more loose internal structure, and they are divided in the loosely organized sub-fleets and subsections that organize and disband on a regular basis. And also in recent times they started being interested in trade of rare resources, and not just plain adventuring. They do a lot of sea-based stuff, from exploration to escort to ships, and even naval warfare and some other kind of mercenary jobs. And as for the name, here is the time to drop one interesting lore detail on Thageia, which is the fact that this world has actually two moons, which are sadly yet unnamed, so we're gonna call them the major and minor. And the major moon is basically a... You completely forgot to add what?
Oh, my token.
Oh, okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
So the moons on the waves, no, okay, the two moons. The major moon is similar to Earth's moon, but a little smaller. So is pale and whitish in color. And the minor moon, depending on circumstances, appears orange to red, and it is somewhat around half the size of the other moon. And the moons interact in such a way that I definitely did not go simulationist in that. I might, when I am able to write a supplement about Thageia, I might be able to give more details, but honestly, I don't want it to turn into an astrophysics simulator. The main effect of the two moons is that generally there are four phases in the tidal cycle, and the highest and lowest of tides are more extreme than what would happen on Earth. So basically, the main consequence is that the major ports in all of Thageia are constructed in a sort of tiered layout to allow the boats and docks to adjust to the fact that the water level varies a lot during the day, and obviously that there could very well be entire islands that are over that emerge for half of the day and are more or less submerged for the other half around the map. And so you guys chose the moons on the wave as your guild, and now it's time to talk about your background as an adventuring group. And I will let you talk to each other and decide whether or not some of you already know the others, and stuff like that. Your previous adventuring history. And I'm just no particular reason. I'm passing it up to T for this one, but after that you can. I mean, you can conduct this freely enough, because I mainly want your input on this.
Alrighty. I feel like we'd probably at least know each other from like guild headquarters, home base, whatever it is. I don't know how big the guild is, but it feels like, we'd probably see each other at least.
The guild is big enough to act on a large international basis, so there is literally it probably literally has thousands of active members. That said, given your particular nationalities, especially the fact that the Kobold and Lizardfolk come from within the same nation. It makes perfect sense that you guys, I mean, all of you come from around the big southeastern continent. So it makes perfect sense that you had some missions in the general same area, which is around the equator and the southern tropic. So possibility for chances for you guys to have at least encountered or saw every one of the others, or it is definitely possible and definitely makes sense, especially because you are all level 6, and that means that I mean, the adventurers of your level are less than literally less than half of the guild's personnel, way less than that. I think on a few thousands of members, literally less than 20 or less than 15% could be counted like anything over 5th level. So as
Yeah.
somewhat elite members, or at least on the lower ladder of the elite members, operating in the same general vicinity, you definitely could know each other by name. Anything more is up to you.
Yeah, that's cool. I dig that. We saw each other at ports, coming back from different adventures, different missions, and whatnot. Um, I got a question for Carnifax. Uh, are lizard people more solitary? Because I know you come originally from tribes, but then, like you said, that you learned from a master. Is that like everybody finds their own path, everybody goes out and does their own thing from the tribe, or is it mostly like, you guys stick together and whatnot?
My Carnifax community is a tribe. It is a group. Carnifax's master is Lizardfolk. He taught him how to use spells. It's just we pass down our magical knowledge, um, and in turn, eventually, Carnifax will have to take on his own apprentice and pass down his knowledge to the next Lizardfolk when the time comes.
Okay. In terms of like how we know each other, I think Ubo definitely digs that vibe. And if we're in a current like party together, if it's cool with you, it would be make sense, at least for my character, to like be friendly towards you, have like maybe a like maybe we teamed up in the past or something, and we like know each other pretty well.
I'm definitely okay with that. You are a kobold, so you are not soft folk. You are a tiny lizard.
And yeah, kobolds are definitely way more emotional than lizard folk, but they also have a kind of somewhat alien mentality that can find common grounds with Mr. Master 80. No, middle ground guilds in the hundreds of member definitely exist. Um, Probably I should have said that the average guild is in the tens, as in around 50 to 60 members, and big guilds are in the lower hundreds, and only 5 international guilds actually have members in the thousands. And in Savesta in particular, there could be a lot of guilds that are in that middle ground range of 100 members. So also, by the way, as for our two reptiles, they are also compatriots because both comes from both the Chimes. What did I say? Both come from Savesta in particular, which, by the way, puts you in a peculiar position because Savesta is a militaristic empire formed of an alliance of elves, humans, and goblinoids, weirdly enough, that united over their shared martial culture. And Savesta is probably the single nation that has the most of adventuring guild activity, but also the one that regulates them more, because basically the army and the military hierarchy is very prominent in Savesta, and they think that guilds are very useful for doing all of the very necessary stuff then that the army doesn't really want to focus on doing, because they would much rather prefer to fortify the borders and be ready on the international scene. And so adventuring guilds are very useful, but also they just cannot have powerful individual fighters and adventurers go unchecked in their country. So Savesta only allows adventuring from adventurers that are members of an officially recognized guild. So actually, if you are in Savesta and you are a level 1 fighter, and I mean, you are this great warrior that, and someone comes to you and says, and tells you, "Oh, I've been attacked by a wyvern. Go do something about that." If Savesi military catches you hunting that dragon, and you don't have papers of a guild, they might actually arrest you. No, without actually, they will arrest you. And they will direct the guy that was attacked by the wyvern to a sanctioned official guild. And also Savesi citizen that are guild members can be on some occasion conscripted by the army for special needs. So you two in particular might get military summons to do. I mean, you as Savesi members of the guild are possibly subject to that in rare occasions.
Yeah, Ubo's all about that. Ubo, his entire deal is just like integration, integration, integration. He was born in those tunnels under the town or the city. He was raised there. He wants to be a part of all of that. So yeah, it makes perfect sense for him. Makes perfect sense, and gives him an
I
excuse to join the guild.
definitely
And
think that given his the fact he became a member of the Moons on the Waves, the city he was raised in was some kind of port.
yeah,
It would make a lot of
I
sense.
think that makes complete sense.
Okay, so about Will and T, let's continue the conversation about which one of you knows which other one.
Yeah, just a little like end gap or stop gap for Carnifax and Ubo. I feel like, because I didn't say this before, but Ubo 100% talks in third person.
Oh.
So I think that he finds like Carnifax and his whole deal and his whole mentality and his like laugh and all that like very peculiar, even among all the other weirdness and weird people he's been trying to integrate himself with. So I think he's like kind of fascinated by that, and so he always wanted to be like, what's up? Yeah. But yeah, as for anybody else, I mean, Ubo's like super nice. Like he's super, super friendly. Even though I don't think he has much charm, but he is just like very openly friendly and like blunt. So he'll just kind of say something and then be like, "What? Ubo said nothing wrong. Nothing was incorrect in what Ubo has said." Like, that kind of deal.
I am loving that. My first character, my first RPG character was an overly expansive kobold. In something like in session 1, he attempted to piggyback ride the rogue.
You simply love to see it. You just love to see it. Yeah, so in terms of like my character, he's very flexible, especially if you're on the same guild, you're on the same team. We're all in this together. Peace and love. Let's go crack some heads. Like that's his whole vibe.
I love that. Okay, yes, for Darret and Altana, do they know each other or the couple of weird lizards? Or the couple of weird lizards?
I think Darret is his demeanor during missions is kind of professional, not overly friendly, but not cold either. We're part of this team. We're doing this, and at the end of the day, we'll have a mug of ale and at the tavern back at the guild hall. But that's basically it. See you next time.
Okay, so you are more focused on your own personal goals and the overarching purpose of your being in the guild than on the specific team you adventure with quest by quest.
Yeah, but if I'm part of a team, then obviously, you know, I'm only successful if the team is successful. So I have to work with them. So no use in starting fights or whatever. That
Okay.
said, I think Darret will appreciate Carnifax's demeanor and also them being spellcasters will um, uh, have given them some common ground.
Okay. So do you think you have already worked with any one of the others?
And I might have worked with all of them at different configurations.
Ah,
Could
that's
be.
cool. That's really cool. And it might be one of the reasons. One of the reasons you guys specifically have been proposed this quest by the guild. Because what about Altana? What do you think about her general opinion of the others' attitude with team members and possible encounters with the other guys?
Well, the way that I see it, she tries to work with as many different groups as possible because her whole reason for being here is trying to get notoriety since
Yeah.
she can't get it through her own family line. So,
Oh, cool.
uh, so I feel like working with as many people as possible is definitely just a thing she tries to do. She's professional but friendly.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna check something because what you said just made me curious of something. Specifically, what is the character with the highest charisma in this group?
Probably
Not
not mine.
Okay, no, right. Your average, and let's see the others. I will try to have the D&D Beyond overlay working by next time, but um, it's being kind of a bitch right now. If I can say that.
So my
Okay.
charisma is 11, so I'm not overly charismatic.
Yeah, you're in the
Yeah.
run for top spot anyways because we have a 10, an 8, and what about Ubo?
Oh, Ubo, he's sitting at a fat -1 charisma.
Okay, so the 11, so
Wow,
Darret
we are a
Darret is the highest
rough-looking
charisma.
bunch.
So Darret with an 11 is highest charisma in the party.
I love it. I love
I'm
it.
telling you guys, this guy up front, we are gonna have fun.
I do have training in persuasion and deception. So,
No,
Hey,
that's cool because you wanna basically it has an interesting influence of the kind of notoriety you have been able to gather. The interesting thing is that there are very different ways to have low or high charisma. Because I mean, you can be, for example, you can have a high charisma because you are a silver-tongued speech, I mean, orator, or you can be high charisma because you're adorably shy. And
right. Or that one idiot who doesn't stop talking, but everything he says is funny, even though it's completely wrong on every level. And
Yeah.
he just bumbles upwards. Like this is an old movie, deep cut. Anyone ever saw Airheads with Brendan Fraser? What's his name's character? Never mind, I've already lost everybody.
I'm
But
gonna
yeah,
have to
like
check
that.
that.
Adam Sandler was in that movie. He's the guy I'm talking about. He's so stupid that it's somehow great. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have high or low charisma in a variety of way because you have. I mean, my last character who had charisma as their dump stat is a Goliath blood hunter with an intelligence of 15. And his way of having low charisma is that because he is about as subtle and tactful as a brick. He's the kind of guy who is not. I mean, he's a lawful good character that is deeply lawful good, but he has this incredibly blunt elephant in a crystal shop way of saying things. And despite his intelligence, he kind of lacks subtlety. So he's the kind of guy that if you put him in a situation in which we are making sort of veiled threats and assumptions and illusions and stuff like that, and he is intelligent enough to sense the veiled threat, but he's not subtle enough to reply in a veiled way. So you sort of threaten him in a with illusions, and he just straight up looks at you and said, "I'm gonna crack your head open."
Yeah.
And he just goes like that. So fortunately, he's paired up with a celestial warlock, which instead was a previous conman. So every time they are around civilized society, she just sort of has him shut up and does the talking.
Yeah, that's teamwork right there. Hell.
So what about
I
your?
should ask T something real quick. So, because you're in the guild for personal investment to like get higher up in the ranks for yourself and gain like personal fame and whatnot and recognition, and that's like something that you're like very obviously doing and showing to everybody, or is that something that's like your private thing and you like are not you're trying to be like kind of low key about your ambitions, if that makes sense?
Definitely more low key. Kind of doesn't want to push people away or make them think that she's using them or anything like that. That's not like her goal, to be like, oh, you're working for me because I'm a noble or anything like that. So
Right. Cool. Because again, Ubo's whole deal is integration, but like also working for the clan. So like he does not like people who are like ambitious that way because he sees it like counterproductive and like selfish. Not that he would like start a bar fight or be a psychopath in any way, but he would just be like, I don't like it, like just and make it clear maybe in a talk or something. But I just wanted to see where you were with that, just where with my character. So cool.
So what does Ubo's low charisma stem from?
I mean, we kind of stumbled on it with you talking about your old character. He's just like very blunt and doesn't pick up on social cues as much, and he tries to be super friendly and cool to everybody, but he like grades people the wrong way because he'll just say something.
So he's
you know
more
what I mean?
of the inappropriate kind of guy sometimes.
Yeah, like nothing like dark or anything, but like he'll just go in and be like, "Oh, Mrs. Whatever, I saw your husband in the alleyway kissing a young woman. Were you looking for him?" Like something like that, where it's just like, "No, man, like don't say that. What are you doing?" And he was like, "Yeah, he's right over there kissing her. I don't know what's going on."
I love that. I love that. I'm just I might change stuff in the campaign right now that you say that. Okay, so what about Carnifax instead in what about his -1?
Well, his negative charisma is mostly just not understanding, kind of like Ubo's social cues. He's learned how to laugh. He's figured out how to make his vocal cords sort of do that, but he does it for everything. Somebody dies, he laughs. Somebody's happy, he laughs. There's a dragon. Why are you all screaming? This is entertaining. I thought you all liked adventure. Ha 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 ha.
So it's basically
I'm
a
getting big.
different kind of inappropriateness. I love that.
I'm getting big data vibes from him, and I love it.
Big? Big what?
Big. It's from Star Trek: The Next
Oh, okay.
Generation. There was a character that was kind of similar. So I love to see it.
Okay, the other thing. And obviously it's the wizard. So Carnifax is also the most intelligent guy here, which is
Makes sense.
which is very great because being the highest intelligence character, but with that sort of being out of sync with the rest of humanity, basically, makes for I do want to see Carnifax do the Tidus laugh as well. Tidus. I don't know. I'd love to see that. There was another question that I wanted to ask you. I'm having a hard time remembering what it was exactly. I'm sorry, I'm just setting up the camera a bit better. And so we thought about the guilds. We thought about the characters. Oh, right. This is something that is mechanically relevant. I told you that you guys were. So we established that the reptiles know each other. That you have had some past collaborations of some kind. And we have established each of every one of yours individual background and dive a bit deeper into each character. Speaking of mechanical stuff, I told you at the beginning of character creation that you were allowed the starting equipment for your class and background plus 600 gold pounds plus one magic item up to uncommon. Did you make your choices?
For the magic item, I have not. I'll be completely honest.
Oh, okay.
I
Excuse me. Can you excuse me? I have to add one thing to the wondrous item. That I hope I'm not bursting anybody's bubble when I'm saying this. There is one limitation on the wondrous item besides rarity. There can if the item grants you an extra movement speed of any kind, an extra type of movement speed, there can be only one item that grants that particular movement speed in the party. Which means I am absolutely fine with one of you having, for example, a broom of flying and someone else having a cloak of the manta ray, but no duplicates of that kind. Okay.
cool. So like boots of striding and springing would be fine.
Boots of striding and sprinting would be fine. I mean, I could add an explicit no duplicates rule, but I think we all agree that having the one signature magic item that you have be a duplicate would just be kind of boring.
Yeah, sure.
Unless you characterize it in a way. So I see no need to make it a hard rule. But boots of striding and sprinting would not incur into that problem because it, if I'm correct, it just makes you, it just augments speeds and modes of movement you already have. So stuff
Right.
that makes you run faster or jump further is perfectly fine to have more than one of those across the party. But for example, I am talking about items that add movements. Oh, hello, funny Italian guy. Later, I am talking specifically about stuff that adds movement speed, a new kind of movement speed. So, for example, a magical item that makes you gain a swimming, flying, or burrowing speed.
Right. Okay.
Or
Gotcha.
climbing, or climbing. Yeah, we have exhausted. I mean, there can only be one item for extra kind of moving speed across the whole party. Okay.
I gotcha. I will then call dibs because I'm realizing now in my oversight and excitement to make this character, he's got 20 feet of movement. So I'm taking boots of striding and stringing just to help me out a little bit.
Oh, so the kobold is depth limited. What you are using Tash? I didn't know the kobold was so slow. It's even slower than a
Yeah.
halfling.
I just decided to do the base, do the base kobold instead of doing all the extra stuff. Um, I know they're nice, they're great options. But I'm not gonna overcomplicate it. Having it be a Battlemaster mixed with a kobold already, I'm not a super number cruncher, so
Okay.
I'm
So
good.
did you obviously you removed the intelligence -1, right?
Uh,
Or not?
oh, you know what? I think I did
The
that. Yeah,
strength negative for kobolds.
you're
No, the
right.
strength. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said intelligence. Yeah, got it mixed up with the orc and another thing I was. So did you consider does he have the strength
Give,
malus?
give me 1 second because I think I might
I
have.
think not. I think not. Actually, I'm completely fine with that.
Da-da. Wait, I'm just double checking because I think I put in optional features. Okay, so I
Oh,
did do optional
I'm
class
sorry.
features.
How did you get to? Oh, okay. You got to 18 dexterity with the ability score increase. Did any one of
Yes,
you take feats?
I
I
did.
T, you did. What did you take?
I took elven accuracy.
Oh, I love that. So you are the only one.
no,
Uh,
I'm gonna go ahead.
I took the Warcaster feat for Carnifax.
That's amazing and very appreciated. Uh,
If I'm the only one left, I did take dual wielder.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool and absolutely necessary. And also, it makes perfect sense given the particular combination of weapons you have. I have to say, in general, one thing I have come to, as for my personal taste, I have come to almost hate dual wielding of identical weapons,
Yeah,
or weapons of the same length. Honestly, the simplest reason is that it doesn't make any sense. It does not have any actual. I know that D&D allows you, by rules as written, to do the Dark Souls thing of coming into battle with two rapiers and just
it
doing
just
this.
looks doofy. I just think it looks doofy as hell. You're coming out with two rapiers.
Yeah,
It
but
is what.
also, the classic double short sword is. I mean, I have come. If I had to list oh wow, we lost 95 frame. If I had to list the most annoying tropes in fantasy that in my head, around number one we have the basically the standard rogue. You know, the half elven guy or girl with the hood that is broody and has two identical length short swords and fights basically just spinning like a Beyblade.
My first like five characters. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie.
No, I mean, my first character was at one point he became a short sword dual wielder. I left out I got some, let's call it originality points because I made a that kobold and those
Your
were
character
element.
alive.
Yeah, at one point I also used it as an NPC in a later campaign as a boss fight actually, and I've made it. I made him fight like sort of like Levi from Attack on Titan, if you, in order to make the
Yeah.
spinning make sense. Is basically that was a boss fight in which he had some control on the environment, and he was basically going up and down around the characters while. I also used a particularly funny 3.5 prestige class that's called Tempest, and it was based on blade spinning. But besides of specific examples that are intentionally over the top, I really don't like the standard stupid dual wielding that is so common in and have done that in the past. I have just come to not like it that much.
I hear you.
Uh, oh,
Where are we at with the party the formation then at this point? Because I think Ubo's been around. He's kind of loud. I think people at least know of him. Carnifax definitely has a history with him. Um, uh, uh, I'm sorry, Darrett might think he's a little bit grating, a little bit too friendly. A little bit invasive, man. Staying back. What's it called? I've written down everybody's names because I'm terrible with names. Althana, probably just chill. Probably just, we're good. Uh, so, I don't know. Like I said, Ubo himself is pretty approachable. He's pretty fit into that puzzle piece. If they were told to go on this mission, he's all for it. Can't wait.
okay. That's great. Any one of you wants to? Oh, okay. If anyone to you wants to add something, and also we have to complete the magic item choice. I have to ask you to forgive me for literally 30 seconds of toilet break, as I will let you talk with each other about the Wanderer's item question. So going to turn off my webcam for a sec, and I will be back in as soon as possible. Is that okay?
Yep,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yeah,
Groovy.
I drank a little bit before before the stream began, and right now I'm both dehydrated and
No,
I
no
need to.
worries, man. No worries. Go
I'm
do your
coming
thing.
back.
Nature calls, man.
Take your time.
I completely forgot we had the 600 gold. I'll be honest.
Me too.
100% I am calling dibs on the boots of striding and springing, or whatever they're called.
Nope.
I need that mobility, baby. I need it. I had no idea what else to spend it on, though. Maybe armor? Better armor?
Yeah, I think you could get. Can you go up to plate with the 600?
I'm hoping I can. I'm hoping it's not like 800. No. 1,500 gold.
Mm,
Good pair of splint, though. Let me see what that is stats-wise.
yeah, I took boots of Elvenkind to give me some advantage on stealth and to make me quiet to fulfill my ninja dreams.
Oh, yes. How much is that? Oh, no, that's your...
That's
I'm sorry.
that's my wondrous item, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Why is it not showing up? That's weird.
Yeah, I didn't know what else to buy with the 600. I have my two Kensei weapons that I purchased, but other than that, my base gear kind of covered just about everything.
Yeah, I've never been so spoiled, I'll be honest, at the beginning of a character creation. And I usually start at like level 3 only. We usually never go up this high.
Same.
So I'm spoiling you. Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all.
No. I mean, I am. I absolutely like. Most of my DMing career has been around this kind of tier of play, around the border between tier 2 and tier 3. When you're like actually powerful, but you are not A, godlike, and B, a massive bookkeeping task.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's
also,
honestly that's like the most fun place to be at,
yeah,
both
for
play wise and as
mostly.
a DM.
Also, this adventure was actually played when it was played live. It had a five-character team of level 6, so you are definitely and there was at least one encounter that will be somewhat rebalanced for this campaign, so you are definitely not going to be too powerful or too spoiled even with your one magical item. And by the way, this adventure is I don't know if this is going to happen. I'm not pushing you towards it, but in the first time this adventure was played live, we had one character that could that had a flying object, and they were also they had a broom of flying, and they were also the druid. So if they were to use conjure animals and make it, they had the option. We had the option of having at least 3 characters in the air, and that did not break the adventure or make some scenarios less tough. So just know that this adventure can afford for at least 3 people to be 3 people to be in the air without breaking the encounters.
Sure. No, I mean, I'm just being a little bit tongue in cheek with that.
No problem.
But yeah, 100%. I actually have a question, just because I'm looking at silver weapons. I'm not sure how much it would be to silverize my rapier and whip.
Oh, I'm not even sure 5e as explicit. Oh no, it actually should have on the Dungeon Master Guide. Let me check.
Yeah, I'll read it. I'll read it out to you. The little passage I've got. Silvered weapons. Some monsters that have immunity or resistance to non-magical weapons are susceptible to silver weapons. So cautious adventurers invest extra coin to plate their weapons with silver. You can silver a single weapon or 10 pieces of ammunition. Oh, there it is for 100 gold point.
Oh
I'll
yeah,
do
but
that.
by the way, you know what? Since you have been adventuring up to levels, okay, I'm gonna be helpful with this one. As it is, you are with the adventure as it is by default. You are not gonna need that. So
Okay.
if you want to have it as a thing that makes sense for your character, I am perfectly available to reduce the price of silvering to as low as 20 gold pounds, and saying that it's something that you did and sort of offset the cost during your previous adventuring. And I might consider making some tweaks, but with the adventure as is really not relevant enough that I can let you basically waste 100 gold pounds.
I appreciate
I'm not that evil of a dungeon master. I think I am a chaotic good to chaotic neutral dungeon master.
that. You know what? I think I know I'm going to spend at least some of this gold on. So thank you for that.
So Derek has invested in a breastplate for extra protection.
Okay.
That's 400 gold.
Yeah. As for what's that breastplate made of, by the way? Since you know, druid.
That's a good question. Does it matter?
I mean, we can agree. We can definitely agree that it does not matter for mechanical purposes because we know it has to be not metal, and we can definitely agree that lore-wise, it is definitely possible in Thageia to have an armor that gives breastplate level protection, and it is not made of metal, regardless of what is its actual appearance and what is its the material. So mechanically, no. Flavor-wise, if you want to, you can think about that. I think that Veradrev in particular, as it has a lot of stuff that is aesthetically based on either India or Southeast Asia. You can have some very interesting kind of multi-layered armor that is made of hide or particular wood and a combination of that. Especially since, you know what, Veradrev definitely, it is a place which has a number of holy sites and a number of Fey related places. So you can definitely have either something made of wood or hide that has properties that make it equivalent to a light metal breastplate, and that can work as that. So what it is exactly, we can figure it out together to your liking.
I like the idea of a wooden breastplate, maybe of, I don't know, a kind of hard wood types laminated to get, cross laminated to give it stiffness.
Okay.
But something made out of bone could also be very cool.
As about that, you actually touched an interesting thing, because as part of basic Thageia lore, in the extreme northeast, in the Asterland, we have the steppe dwarves, and some clan of steppe dwarves, since they are dwarves that do not live in the usual mountainous environment you associate dwarves with, and so they had to. They are not diggers, they are not miners, they are very much nomadic steppe dwellers, but they do retain one thing of the basic dwarf, which is their love and expertise in crafting. And they do have some clans of steppe dwarves that have a large number of bone mancer and bone crafters, which are a sort of a cross between druids and necromancers. And they do, some clans are more towards the druidic end, some clans are more towards the artifice end, and some the least reputable one go more towards the necromancy. But since some of them travels, so it's kind of rare, but for a character like yours to have had the chance to acquire Thageia bone armor is definitely possible. It's definitely a thing that exists in some part of this world.
Cool, let's go with that.
Also, it would not have antlers, but it could involve some measure of horns, because I'm gonna show you that one of the things that you can one of the most common animals around those kind of dwarves are these guys. Let me find it and show it to you. It should be around. No, it should be around. As soon as I find it, I'm gonna show that to you. Fortunately, if you search Thageia on Google, it mostly my stuff comes up. Oh, yeah, we got that. Yeah, look at that. Those are the dwarves I was talking about.
Ooh.
If you can see it on the stream, I'll try to show that on Roll20.
Yeah, I can see it on the stream. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm putting it on Roll20 for also the rest of the party to see. And it's when it when it's able to load, you will see the thing. So that animal you just saw is a type of dinosaur that is called a pachison, which is, as you can guess, a sort of a definitely not the right. Okay, that's better. I think you should be seeing this one on Roll20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the dwarves I was talking about, and Pakistans are the kind of animals. They have this very close relationship with their feathered, a kind of feathered dinosaur, sort of like a polar pachycephalosaur with horns. And so you might not have antlers on your armor, but maybe some of those horns have snacked their way in part of the design.
Yeah,
We
that
can
would
talk
be
about
cool
that.
to have the horns on the shoulders or something like that,
Yeah,
like shoulder guards.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possible arrangements for that. Okay, so that's good. Did you choose your wondrous item?
Me, I didn't yet. I'm looking
I've
into it.
I got a question. A
Yeah.
potion of healing is 50 gold in the player's handbook. How much is a potion of greater healing?
Oh, that's a nice question. I think let me check. I'll do something, because potion of greater healing is obviously not supposed to be something that is commonly
Paul?
available, but it could be definitely available to. I mean, it's reasonable to think that a level 6 adventurer has had the means to do that. So what I'm going to do is I am gonna check the Baron book that assumes a um, sort of common trade of magical items up to uncommon, and I am gonna give that a price slightly higher than that. Okay?
Sounds fair.
Because
Just as
that
I'm realizing, no cleric party, baby. So some healing potions would come in handy.
well, we do have a druid. Uh,
I'm
yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Uh, okay. Wait a second. Any other common? It says I would.
A druid who doesn't have healing spells, I might add.
Okay.
Oh, so you don't have them prepared right now.
True. Yeah, I know them, but
But you would
yeah.
prefer to not have to prepare them too much. Okay, it makes sense.
Just don't get hurt, guys.
Honestly, I would say, given your situation, you can get them a potion of greater healing for 80. If you are okay, but oh no, your free uncommon item are the boots. If we are talking buying with your coins, I will say potion of greater healing is 80 gold pounds, but there can, at the start of the adventure, you can have a total of 3 in the whole party.
Okay. And
Okay?
I'll put my because I've got because I spent some money on some nets and then manacles just in case, who knows. Uh
Nice.
and I also got split mail so I can get that 18 armor class since I'm going to be a fighter. Why not? And so I have 395 left. So let me see how much that would
Does it
be.
have any strength requirements? No, right?
Let me see.
Because you have 10 strength.
Splint. Armor class 17, cost, this armor, da, da. It doesn't say anything explicitly. Says its armor is made out of vertical strips of metal, riveting to a
I mean,
backing of leather.
medium armor? Is it medium armor?
Da-da-da. Is this? I don't think so. I think this is the.
Oh, I'm going
No,
to.
it's. Oh, you know what? No, strength 15.
Yeah, I
Uh-oh.
figured that. I
Okay.
would get my player's handbook, but right now it's not exactly the... Okay, no. I did it. I made it.
Gotcha. Okay, so that I'm gonna have to rectify. But yeah, if we can only have 3 in the party, then we just double check. Because I'm not I'm not good at math. 35.
Okay.
Again,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
grab those 3 potions because that would leave me with 155 gold left. I'm gonna see what other armor I can get then.
I'll snag one of them because I'm the other person that's up close.
Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. I mean, as
Any
said before, you two are gonna be the striker team.
any limit on the regular potion of healing?
I mean, I would say, for the regular potion of healing, just for balance and making sense, I would say 10 total in the whole party.
Okey-doke. I was
So
gonna
you
grab,
are
like,
quite
2 of them.
covered. If necessary, Darret can prepare cure wounds at one point, and you can be safe if not completely reckless. I mean, given the adventure, having more than those really does not make much sense. Probably, I mean, if you get to a situation in which you go through all of that potions with no rest in the middle, something kind of wrong happened. Probably.
Yeah.
Because you are gonna, if you max out, you are gonna start with 10 regular healing potions and 3 of greater healing, and if you find that you have a situation in which you have, I mean, before the end of the adventure, especially earlier, you have used most of those, I'm gonna be kind of surprised.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm going to renege on having nets and manacles, just because I'm realizing now, with the, because I completely forgot about the strength requirement, I'm going to instead get breastplate, so it boosts me up to 400 gold from
Good.
355. I'm taking back the 200 from
Yeah,
the.
the net is the reason I am super sad that arcane weapon does not exist officially outside of Unearthed Arcana. It was the artificer spell that allowed you to apply elemental damage effects to weapons, and I had built this concept of a Kobold artificer that could help the party with electrified nets with pack tactics, and it was an amazing synergy because it could have immobilized and electrocuted an enemy, negating the permanent disadvantage of the net, and it's just not a thing anymore.
Yeah, that is sad to see go. For
And
sure.
honestly, it was an awesome spell flavor-wise. Besides being, I think that the elemental infused net might be the reason why it got removed in the end. But actually, I don't know if they are so broken as people might have feared.
Let me just see here. So we're the fighters.
Will, what about you and Carnifax's wondrous item?
Well, my wondrous item for Carnifax, again, due to being Useful to him in the now is the Enduring Spellbook, so it cannot be damaged by fire, time, or water, which just seems good on open seas.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Makes sense as it is his the spell book is his spellcasting focus and main weapon. Absolutely makes sense. Love that. Oh, I wanted to ask you a thing about while you think about that, we can also discuss possible house rules. And I don't really have much to say on that unless someone of you wants to end up with a mount for some reason. Because honestly, I think that the basic 5e mounting rules are kind of stupid in how they work. Because they sort of they make it so that in basically the majority of cases, um, I mean, they make you fight in a way that it makes really no sense for what a mounted fighter is supposed to be. Because if you want to do the one mounted fighting style that is actually effective with 5e rules as written is being a static imposing wall. I mean, being up in the face of your enemy, being above them, and holding the line in place. But if you want to do an actually probably more common and more interesting style of mounted fighting, which is charging and trampling or attack and retreat, it's actually, with rules as written, it's actually more efficient to just do a monk with mobile and charger. I mean, if you have a guy on a horse with mounted combatant and a monk with mobile and charger, the monk is actually more efficient in trampling enemies and doing bite and retreat tactics. And I hate this. I absolutely hate this situation.
So, but how probable is it that we will hop onto horses and participate in a large-scale mounted combat?
Yeah, this was more of a pet peeve of mine, but with the adventure as is, the answer kinda depends on you. Because because you are the only one that, unless one of you does something, you are the only one that can provide mounts due to conjure animals. So when this adventure was played live, at one point we had one character in the air on a broom of flying, and other two guys on the eagles summoned by the druid. And in that case, I just streamlined that a bit. It does not. It's not really needed that we discuss mounted rules right now with the adventure as is. But I just wanted to bring it up in the general conversation about house rules. And also, no, one thing I want to ask you is, what do you think about flanking? Because one thing I have tried sometimes is I am not sure, I am really not sure of how powerful or appropriate is the suggested optional rule of just flanking gives advantage. Especially because I get the feeling that it sometimes can be too powerful, or sometimes it can be redundant. Especially, and one thing I have tried doing with some success in a couple of occasions is saying that what flanking does is it cuts in half the dexterity bonus to armor class of the target. I have tried this, but I just want, flanking is something that might come up that might definitely come up in this adventure. So I just want your opinion in should we not consider it? Should we do the standard flanking grants advantage, or should we try house rule it in a different way?
To be honest, I've never really played in any games that had flanking.
Okay,
We
good.
can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's see if is there
Favorite
any chance
flanking.
of my webcam working this time? No. Okay, let's do it as before. Oh no, I'm actually. Oh, okay, no, it's the old setup. Okay, everything fine on my end. My connection just died for a second. I don't know why it's doing that today. So, hello everyone again. We were talking about whether or not to use optional or house rules about flanking, and Anthony was talking about that.
Yeah, we were actually Cappy and T. We were kind of going in favor of the normal 5 edition additional rule set of flanking.
So just straight advantage.
Yeah,
Advantage for the people who are flanking,
Flanking.
who are actively flanking. Yep.
Yeah, obviously, it definitely does not apply to every other attack against that target. Primarily for balancing reasons in that case. Okay, I'm. If every one of you is fine with that, I am fine. I had proposed my rules of limited flanking to make it impactful, but a bit less alarming. But it has the obvious issue that if you already did not have a dexterity bonus to AC, flanking does not do anything against you, which really makes probably little sense. Makes even less sense story-wise than alternatives, even though it might be slightly better balanced in my opinion.
I just
Purely
feel like
mechanical.
it's a lot more bookkeeping on your end to have to
Yeah,
take out.
if I have to remind to yeah that as well, because I have to know not only I have do I have to keep the armor classes in mind, but I have to keep in mind the composition of the armor class, which is really
right.
something
Yeah,
I normally it's better not to do normally. And
yeah. I mean, based
okay,
on how you're describing it, I'm kind of leaning towards and anybody else can say their piece. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards just the standard flanking rules. Test them out. I mean, nothing has to be ironclad, but I've never played with flanking, and to be more aware of your position, have a little bit more team synergy.
yeah.
As a battle master, that all excites me. It
Yeah, I mean,
excites me.
I like
You know,
fighting on a battle map, and I experiment a lot with mechanics that consider relative position of the character. So I want to have flanking have some sort of an effect. Which one and how exactly does that work is depending on a lot of stuff, and I like your suggestion of a simple limited advantage that only applies to melee attacks by the actual flankers, correct?
right.
Great. Okay, so progress on the magical item front. We have the spell resist the resistant book for Carnifax. We have the boots for Ubo. Not sure exactly what for Darret and Altana.
I was leaning towards the boots of Elvenkind. They give you advantage on stealth checks that rely on moving silently, and you make no sound
Makes very much
as
sense.
you walk and such. Yeah, felt like it fit flavorfully and kind of goes with
Great, makes
the
very much sense.
general skill
Okay.
set.
What about Darek?
Yeah, I've narrowed it down to 3 choices.
Okay.
I thought it, I could do a ring of water walking or whatever, but that's, you know, I prefer, let's say, flavorful magic items that do not give you an immediate mechanical advantage.
Mm.
So I'm leaning towards either the Gem of Brightness, which you can use to light or act like a fire tower.
Is it from the basic Dungeon Master's Guide list?
It's actually
Okay.
from the OGL.
Oh, okay. Gem of, excuse me. Oh, Gem of Brightness. Okay.
Gem of Brightness.
Yeah. Okay. Because I sometimes forget what which items come from where exactly. Okay. Oh, cool.
That one is kind of cool. There's the Decanter of Endless Water, which is really useful if you're stuck at sea. But you can also produce a geyser of water. So on a single turn, you produce 30 gallons of water,
Yeah, I dig that.
which
I
is also
certainly
kind
do.
of cool. Or the ever smoking bottle to as some kind of signal flare. So I don't know. I'm kind of undecided between those 3.
Okay, okay. Those are all 3 cool choices. Very cool. I like all of those. I like the very different direction you are going into with respect to the previous players of this same adventure. The previous party had there was one broom of flying. We had a one character that had a circlet of blasting that was actually never used for some reasons. Another guy, which by the way was a Verazi noble, he had a helm of telepathy, and which,
Great item.
excuse me.
The Helm of Telepathy. So many secret conversations. I'm gonna stab this guy. I think. I don't know. Hold off on it. Blah
Yeah,
blah
that
blah.
that became definitely useful at one point. So broom of flying, helm of telepathy, the secret of blasting that kind of went unused, and I think one character had the boots of elvenkind, but I'm not super sure about that. Also, I love the decanter of endless water idea, especially because in another Thageia adventure that we had at the very start of the adventure, there was a battle in which what's the name of that wondrous item that are the beads of
I know it explodes.
yeah, the one bead that is a bead of basically powdered water. Then when it cracks it,
A refreshment.
No, it's the powder of dryness.
no, yeah, okay, okay. Oh, it's the powder of drying because the beads
Also
are
the
created by the powder, and so they basically had an encounter against a group of enemies that had weaponized the powder of dryness, because they had bags of the pellets created by the powder, and they were using those as as slingshot pellets. Okay, so they
Yeah.
entered the room, and these guys, which by the way were kobolds, these guys pelted them with these little beads, and they basically all the party, half the party, was literally washed down the stairs by a tsunami of water, because the one kobold basically took a handful of those things, put it into the slingshot, just went and launched it against the floor, and there was this tidal wave that washed the entire party down the stairs. So
I don't know.
I love this kind of
It's mad
stuff.
when you describe that. That's some Home Alone shenanigans for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Excuse me.
No, I'm thinking of Home. When you describe that scenario, I'm thinking of Home Alone. They're coming up the stairs. There's a nail. Paint can comes, hits him. Like that's just so beautiful. I love it.
Oh, I love that kind of stuff in my table. To tell you a bit of some things that have happened at my table. So to give you some I don't know, some sense of what usually the way I usually run adventures, and the kind of atmosphere it creates at the table. There are serious moments. There is some thing that I try to be thoughtful about the plot in general, the motivations of characters. I try to make the story make sense. What makes sense when it comes to the actual action. I do love the silly, over the top, epic stuff. And oh, okay, Cappy, will wait for you as you come back in the call. And in the meantime, before I get back to that, Altana, what about you and the choice of wondrous item? And okay, no, you choose the boots. Sorry,
Oh,
I was a bit
yes.
forgetful for a second.
No
Is
worries.
everyone else? As for the rest of your gear, are all of you okay?
Yeah, yeah. I got that 17 AC, as good as I'm gonna get it. So I'm happy. Got some
Great.
potions of healing. Did Shibato have his item
Excuse me?
or Carnifax? Did Carnifax tell us his magic item?
Yeah, he got the resistant spellbook or enduring spellbook. I don't know the name.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the enduring spellbook. So that in water and fire and over time, my book just won't die on me for any reason.
Great.
That's right.
Um,
Uh,
I am
we
also going to purchase 3 potions of healing just so I have them. I also, for just the sake of helping the party, I have life transference prepared so I can take some of my health and give it to a party member in a dire situation. So I wanted to pack a few potions just to get myself back up.
uh, you have what exactly? Excuse me.
I have the spell Life Transference
Okay.
prepared. It's a level 3 spell that lets me take 4d8 necrotic damage and give double the amount that I dealt to myself to a party member.
That's very good. I can see so many. Oh, hello, Cappy. I can see so many interesting ways to flavor that also. And oh, I realize I did not ask Altana about her choice of weapons.
Ah, I let's see. I took a scimitar for my starting
Mm-hmm.
Kensei melee weapon, long sword for the additional melee weapon, and then I just stuck with darts for my ranged because they are cheap and they handed me 10 at the beginning.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. I figured it was I figured from the art you provided for the character that it would have been mostly sword fighting, but I was curious of the specifics.
Yeah.
Uh,
Ideally, I want to be up close, but I almost always pack some sort of long range option in every character I make.
yeah, it makes absolutely perfect sense. I would love if the Kensei monk actually could use pole arms, especially because armed armed monks in real world traditions that had them did use a lot of I mean the monks that actually fought and had martial trainings across the world are absolutely no stranger to many kind of pole arms, from the quarter staff to more halberd-like weapons. So I wish the Kensei monks was actually able to use pole arms. I am very sad it doesn't.
They can use spears.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, unless you sort of reflavor and reskin damage, you cannot do, for example, a Naginata wielding monk that uses mechanically a glaive, and that I'm kind of sad about that. I mean, a spear is not the because I love the one type of spinny fighting style that I do like is the one with pole arms. At least if the one that what does the spinning is the weapon and not the fighter.
That's very true.
I mean, if the fighter is the one that spins for no reason, I'm not super a fan of that. Here, let me show you my back 13 times in 1 second so you can stab it.
Hey, come on, man. Stab my back. Come on, dude. Try.
It's like it's the one thing that when I was watching the Witcher show, I was face palming for half of the first
Yeah.
the first episode because I kept thinking to myself, wow, Geralt is only able to win battles because he is superhuman, because the way he intentionally makes stuff worse for himself is staggering. With that, he continuously shows as much target as possible to the enemies, and then he does the one thing that is dumber than dual wielding equal weapons, which is reverse gripping a one-handed sword.
I mean, hey, man, if you're not going to win with style, I don't think you really won.
Yeah,
I just don't.
that's cool. Yeah, that's. I mean, I don't find I do see the stylishness of some kinds of dual wielding. I really do not find the reverse grip stylish at all. Honestly, I just find it aesthetically annoying as well. But I don't know.
For sure.
Maybe that's me.
Now, Steven Seagal fans, I know.
Excuse me?
Not Steven Seagal fans out there anymore.
Oh.
He used to do. I'm going to be making deep cuts to 90s movies no one here has seen.
No. I mean, I definitely saw something with. I think
the partnership.
the best movie I think it stars Steven Seagal. The best movie with Steven Seagal in it that I saw is called. Let me check the English title. It's
Like those two movies.
It's called. Is he in? It should be Executive Decision. Executive Decision.
I don't know. I saw that one.
It's the one in which terrorists attack a commercial jet plane. But there is also as Mr. Master 80 said in the chat, actually Steven Seagal just cameos in that because he dies immediately. And when I say immediately, he sacrifices himself so that the other good guys can get on the plane. And it's actually the most shocking thing of the whole movie because you saw Steven Seagal and you expect him to be at least the secondary action guy, and instead he's literally sucked up into the sky and disappears as soon as the movie begins.
Well, because I don't like him as a person. I simply must look that up. I have to.
No, the reason I love those films, one reason is it's quite good as an action thriller. Also, I love the cast they put together because there's Halle Berry, which is one of my celebrity crushes. There is Kurt Russell as the protagonist. And there is Steven Seagal, the military guy that coordinates operations is the guy that plays Dr. Kelso in Scrubs.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
imagine seeing Dr. Kelso in high-rank military clothing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
yeah.
the bad guy, the terrorist leader, is the guy that plays Hercule Poirot in the TV series. So it's the guy is Poirot without the mustache, and he's a psychopath terrorist, and it's absolutely amazing.
All right, recommended. That's on the checklist.
Okay. So we are fully decked with gear. We have established characters and character relationship. We have at most a little less than half an hour to go. If I'm correct.
So in the meantime, I settled on having the decanter of endless water.
I dig that decision. So you are
I was
basically a waterbender at this point.
Yes, kind of, yes.
Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that that vibe. Um, how about you? You are also not the kind of stereotypical animal fixated druid, am I right?
True.
Is that just that you are more interested in the elemental aspect, or also do you actively make people just do you want to remark the fact that you're not the usual druid with a lot of animals just randomly perched on them and doing that kind of stuff?
I think that Darrett just doesn't mention that he's a druid. He's an adventurer who is, in this party doing his thing. And yeah, you, if anybody asks him, what kind of magic are you using, he'll tell you, but he doesn't walk around advertising the fact that he's a druid.
Okay. The last thing I want to ask you is what kind of character-wise, at least, what languages does each one of you speak in the end?
Ubo. Ubo, where is your stuff? Da, da, give me a second. I'm sorry, where on the sheet is that again? Oh, I see it. I see it. Never mind.
Okay.
So I can speak Common, Draconic, and Goblin.
That absolutely makes sense. Giving him a Savasi Kobold. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Makes sense. Good for the adventure. Okay, good. What about Altana? In the end, what did you choose?
I went with common, elvish, orc, and primordial. Since
Okay.
you said primordial was the like counter to uh the
Yeah,
like
it
regional
it
language.
makes sense because of the fact that your character has seafaring experience and has to deal with the Cyrenians. Had probably had to deal with Cyrenians often, and primordial in this case is. I mean, yeah, let's say primordial is just easier that way. In Thageia, it probably makes sense to separate Aquan as a specific language, but I mean, let's just go with primordial and good at that. And what about blanking out on the name Carnifax?
Carnifax has common, draconic, elvish, and goblin.
Good, makes sense. Also, okay, also good as a Savasi character. And Darret.
Darrett speaks Common, Draconic, Druidic, Elvish, and Goblin.
How did you came to Draconic in particular? Because all of the others, I mean, they make sense just geographically.
I don't know. It seemed like a cool language to be able to speak.
Yeah, no, it's
If
clearly
it doesn't make sense, then. But you mentioned that Draconic was one of the magical languages.
absolutely. Yeah, and makes sense. It makes sense because of that definitely. Draconic is one of the Draconic and Elvish are the two most common languages for magical purposes. And so, since you had some partial formation with the Drevites and learned Druidism from them, besides Druidic, the languages you are most likely to have been exposed to in the study of the arcane are definitely Draconic and perhaps Primordial, depending on the specific master. While Verazi, their most used esoteric language is Celestial instead. But you just might, given your particular training, just might not have picked up on that. One of, if it interests you, the reason for that division is because in a very oversimplified way, the religion of Varadrev is based on those twin ways of the Verazi and Revites, and the Verazi way is very focused on the concept of good or light actively fighting against darkness and evil. They are the warriors of good, the purifiers, the keepers of peace, and they have this sort of their ideology, their branch of the faith is the one that is most focused on sort of a positive, proactive action for good and against evil, while the Drevites are usually their philosophy is more about balance, harmony, and coexistence. And the interesting thing about the Twin Way is that those are not in conflict. The Varadrev Twin Path recognizes that a person can individually dedicate to only one of those conceptions of the world, but both are necessary for society and the faith as a whole. So one characteristic of the Varadrev religion is that they are inclined to think that different ways to approach the world are necessary and useful. So it's actually a good thing that other people see the world in a different way from me, because they can do their part that is necessary and I cannot do because I have to do mine. That is a different thing. So I don't know how your character approaches to this general vision, but I mean that's just, he is a Verazi, so he has been raised at least into young adulthood in this mindset of we are the warriors of light, in this more paragon paladin like mindset. But he also learned magic from the more balanced focused Drevites. So I'm curious about what does he think of all that.
Well, obviously, Derek strives to be a force of good, but he has also decided that he is doing this his own way. His life is not as a typical Varazi. He has developed some independent thoughts of how he wants to do, how he wants to live as a Varazi, basically.
Okay, that's amazing. Is there anyone? No, languages I have asked. I think. Okay. Any of you that wants to share something about expectation and stuff they want or maybe don't want to do going forward with the adventures? Let me, not exactly sure of how to phrase this, but yeah, let's talk a bit about what you in general could like or expect from the game.
I mean, in terms of, I'm kind of seeing this as just a typical. I'm not sure exactly what your style is or whatnot. Just like a typical adventure on the high seas, kind of piratey. I'm not expecting anything that's like gross or inappropriate or anything that's nasty like that. Um, you know, I'm kind of broad in my expectations, I guess I could say.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm.
Oh, good.
I was just gonna say I kind of agree. Nothing to like. I guess gross is the right word.
Okay.
No matter what direction you want to take that. I'm personally okay with a little gore. I use gore in my games. Very very
Yeah.
common. Um, what I want to know is it is a common thing for lizardfolk to cannibalize other sentients. Is that going to bug anyone if Carnifax sort of makes rations out of non-animal beings? I just want to know that ahead of time.
Okay. It would definitely it might be definitely a problem for the other members of the party, because that's definitely not much of a thing in all of their cultures. As for lizard folk, I'd say it depends. Because nothing in the lizard folk mindset gives them reason to have it as an absolute taboo. That said, probably I would say that the more isolated from, let's say, civilization the tribe is, the more likely is that they could do this on a somewhat frequent basis. Because like the
Right.
literal swamp dweller that never talk with anyone else might probably do that kind of regularly. Your tribe in particular, which is not particularly engaged with the outside world, but also they do have open trade that that happens kind of often. Maybe they um, at least contain themselves a little more. I don't know. It also depends on. I'm also not sure if how normal it is for lizard folk to cannibalize each other after that. I guess it depends from the particular spirituality of the single tribe, because there might be some tribes that have reason to practical and cultural reason to bury the dead, and some that eat them. I don't see your particular tribe as being one of that just casually cannibalizes other that casually eats dead humanoids. That said, I think you're. I mean, if you guys were stranded in some place and it was life or death, and one of you dropped dead, I could definitely see Carnifax just nibbling if the others don't immediately, if he doesn't think that the others will attack him as a result.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about like separated from our character's perspective, us the players, what might offend us or what we would want to see, I don't care at all. And that kind of a funny thing, you know what I'm saying? Lizard Man just casually eating unarmed from a dude you just fought. That's fine with me, honestly. Ubo might say like one or given the past history, he would be no and be down for that probably. Honestly, I'll be honest. He'll probably be like, yeah, he just does this sometimes, you know. But yeah, that's a like strong way, you know.
I mean, what? Yeah, that the player's taste is the most relevant thing here. Story wise, I think definitely he is not. It isn't something that he would that he should be have a principle to not do. But also, he is intelligent enough to at least know that most other soft folks don't really like that in usual circumstances.
Makes sense.
And that was mostly my understanding because from what I read about lizard folk, once someone is dead, they're meat. They don't consider it like death is not an important thing to them. It's just a continuation of what is to be. And I do agree with the intelligence wise, he would definitely not like he would think about that before he, pulled out his fork and knife. Maybe I should do this right now. But I did, if it was going to be a problem for players, I didn't even want to bring it up. That's my major concern is that if it does come up, I don't want to offend anyone if that's something that he does.
Okay, is that a problem for any other players to at least address this thing?
Nope.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. As for goriness and grossness, what I would say is that I generally share your taste. We're not. I'm not running a berserk campaign by any stretch of the imagination. Some of my adventures and campaigns went a bit in the gory direction in certain circumstances. My first campaign heavily featured the undead and the subterranean ruins of a that were in a very bad state. So there were a lot of scenes with let's say mildly to somewhat gross stuff, but no, there was no particular splatter or stuff like that. There were definitely, I don't want to make it obviously anxiety inducing for anyone. I do like combat to be a mix of bloody, tense, and dangerous, but also action and spectacle. So I could consider normally I would consider stuff like if you're not okay with the possibility of, for example, limbs getting chopped or stuff like that, just tell me right now and I'll keep that in mind. Because otherwise, in my combat, that is something that is I would not go into super graphic details of describing it, especially when it's other people or humanoids. But medium to heavy mutilation is something that could definitely happen if no one has a problem with that.
With gore, I'm completely good, and if it's okay for me to just say an example of how in an old one shot my character killed somebody, just to set the standard of is this the level we're comfortable with? He had a trident that was magical. He was fighting this guy. I was told, how do you want to finish this guy off? And I said I stab him with the middle of the trident into his neck, and then I twist the trident and his head pops off. And then that's I'm comfortable with that kind of description of dismemberment and things.
Yeah, if the players are okay with them, down with that.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
That's about the level that seems
right.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going into details describing flying intestines or stuff like that. Though I did some of that, but where it concerned undead, I not exactly gore, but I did do a lot of a certain amount of more gross, meaning icky stuff. Just like examples, I'm gonna do some examples. I'm trying to keep it moderate and let's see. But I had a lot of somewhat, for example, that there were a number of moments in the previous Underground City mega dungeon that I mentioned before. There were a number of scenes in which characters found themselves in stuff like Star Wars Episode 4 garbage dumpster, and so so they were very near. So they were near a large amount of waste, garbage, and in at least one or two moments they found themselves in the ruins of a latrine, and there was some somewhat toilet humory stuff that happened. It's not something that might be relevant in this particular campaign, but I mean, let's see how I want to know, have your opinion on that kind of stuff.
I mean, it just depends on how far it goes.
Okay.
Pretty much my broad rule of thumb is like don't make it like I'm gonna say fetishize it. Like that's pretty much like the hard no for me. If it's just like, hey, you stepped in some crap, or like, hey, here's some crap, or whatever, I'm not gonna keep going on with that.
I had some situations in previous campaigns, some of many times, just for atmospheric reasons, because it made sense in that context. I described in light detail how dirty the characters were and how bad they smelled after coming out of X particular situation, because it gave the atmosphere. Yeah, you just been through something that is really gross. I'm not gonna dwell on that, but you kind of just swam into a sewer, so we have to take that into account, because you're about to make a charisma check and you literally look like a dumpster.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, for me, there's nothing else, outside of like, again, like fetishizing it or making something a huge deal or something like that. Making fun of like, okay, racism, like that's like endorsing it or whatever.
No, okay, well, obviously that is.
Hard no, pass.
Yeah, I mean, we are sensible people. Okay.
Anything sexual, hard no. It's I'm expecting like kiss on the cheek, ha ha ha. That's the kind of tone, and then like you said, if it's darker or if it's like, well, you're fighting the big boss and he's this big ugly undead troll. Okay, yeah, describe his veins and how he smells and all that. That I'm totally fine with, but it's mostly like punching down on minorities and people like that.
No, okay, no. Yeah, definitely. I do. In this adventure, as for some kind of stuff like sensible stuff, I do have some settings, some stories in which species-based tension has played a role. Thageia is not really the setting for that, and also I believe there is a way in which you can do that, and it's not gross and off-putting, and but obviously you have to be very sensible about it. Thageia is not really the place for that. You are not going to have moments like the stereotype of the orc enters in a pub and we don't serve your kind here, that kind of crap. That's no. I'm not gonna do that. Also, if there is, I might. It's not the case of this adventure, but given Thageia is a lot about nations, there might be something about nation-based attitudes that might influence, or people. There are people in Thageia that have nation-based stereotypes, like they do think Savesi people generally behave in such way, or but I do not. I mean, if you include certain elements in a story, you have to treat them sensibly and or make them sort of the point of what you're trying to narrate about, and it's not the case here.
I'm not so. I understand friction in like different groups of people and stuff. I'm just, if we're listing everything on the table, that's up there, but it's not, mostly it's the more gross sexual side of things that I'm like, no. And then like everything else kind of falls in ladder there. So yeah, as long as nothing's taken too far, it's like, oh, he doesn't like this, or honestly, I'm okay with that level of whatever. But it's just like, I don't know. I guess it's one of the things you have to see. So maybe if there is something that comes across, because this is the thing. I think it's good that we have our expectations on the table. And I'm talking a lot, so if somebody wants to interrupt me, go ahead. But uh, uh, I think that I think I have a general feel. And again, I'm talking a lot. Somebody interrupt me. Of the comfort levels of what we're dealing with. But maybe we can have like a yellow card or something in case something does come up, where it's like because it's art. It's it's a story. There are levels of how you present things and whatnot. So if it's on an extreme level, it's hard to gauge sometimes.
I
So
mean,
maybe we can just
I'm fine with doing that in a we can manage to incorporate in a norm organic way. I honestly, with what you're telling me and with the style I usually have, I don't think it's coming up. But as a backup measure, I'm definitely fine with that. I definitely don't want anyone at my table to be uncomfortable. And as the last point, let's say the sexual angle that you just mentioned. At my table, we did have various degree of let's say PG-13 sex jokes. That is the average. It's not super frequent, but it does happen. In literally the first session of my first long campaign, an hour of play in, and there was this half elven prostitute that was trying to seduce the monk. That also, by the way, it was not an actual seduction scene because it turned into something else. But I mean, there was I had done I had my players do scene with light innuendos, some sex joke, acknowledging sexuality exists, and it can be funny or add to a character or to a story. But obviously, I know it can be touchy. What I am not gonna do in any case is force it in any way on anyone. You might have. I mean, there might be, but I usually don't do that if it doesn't make sense. But there might be, I don't know, the occasional NPC that takes a fancy on X character, unless the player specifically told me they don't like that kind of stuff. And there might be some during one other adventure I ran in Thageia. The characters at one point they were chasing this fey creature, and they ended up inside a brothel, and so they did this kind of funny chase sequence in the brothel, and there were a couple of let's say picturesque characters like in there, some funny moment. But I personally I don't go over that, and of course I don't for the most I did, the absolute most I did, but it's definitely it literally happened only one time, and I went in that direction just because that particular campaign was a bit more out there. Is I had one scene in which something was happening. There was a character, an NPC, that was speaking with the party, and he was sitting at a table, and let's say something was happening under the table while the NPC was speaking. And that's the most I ever pushed it, and it's not going to happen in this adventure. But on my own, I only went that far one time, so that's on my side. So I want to hear about you now.
Generally, like for like home games where it's not out in the public and stuff, I don't overly care because I mean that's on a case by case basis and what you and your friends are doing. I generally with people I don't know prefer to keep anything sexual to a minimum, just because I personally have had people get really creepy towards my characters while I'm playing.
Okay, no, yeah, that is definitely not allowed in the slightest.
So, yeah, I don't mind PG-13 level type stuff is totally okay with me. I personally will never bring it up.
Okay.
It's not my thing when I'm playing with people I just met, typically. But, yeah, I have no real super
I mean,
strong
the most you can expect from me in a normal adventure is that you might meet a particularly sex positive NPC, but that's not going to absolutely engage any of the player characters first, and or unsolicited. So, yeah.
That's totally fine with me. Just basically so long as I don't have to engage with it like in character.
Yeah, no,
anything.
any kind of interaction in that sphere, or even in any degree of romantic sphere, has to be initiated by the players. And if it involves more than one player, it obviously has to be 100% consensual, and yeah, that's a given.
Sounds good with me.
Okay, so I think we've said anything worth saying. We presented the setting, we presented the character, everything else, and we don't have much time left anyway. Am I right?
Yeah,
Okay.
looks like it.
Okay, so the last thing is that I am asking you guys, and then we'll say goodbye and prepare to play next Saturday. Is where do you wanna start the game? Because as it by default, this adventure starts with your character arriving in the city state of Tamet, this island state with one major city, and you are going to have audience with. Let me check the name. Sorry. You are going to have audience with your client, which is a local noble called. I need to find the name of this guy. Okay, called Dolin Kotuvian. I will write the name down in the chat later. And so the adventure starts with you arriving in town with very few information on your mission, and you arrive and you will meet someone that will bring you to the audience. If you are interested, as previously we said in Discord, we can start it a bit earlier and do some fluff and role play that happens before. Like we can start it from the moment you are actually chosen by the guild in which the adventuring party is actually formed. But that's entirely on dependent on what you would like to do.
I mean, we already established our relationships, and we know, who the other characters are, and etc. So I'd be fine with, let's say, starting the moment we step off the boat.
Okay. Everyone else?
Yeah, I agree with Cappy. I think that our characters have it defined and how we know each other and all that, and we can just start right at the bow and ready to get into the meeting with the noble.
Okay, that's good. Same for Carnifax
I
and
agree.
Altana? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. When we arrive in town or right around there seems like a good starting point to me.
Yeah, okay. Then we'll next time we'll begin from that. A little intro. You will step off the boat and you will have your contact waiting to introduce you to the nobles to discover what the mission is actually about in detail. And so with this in mind, and with everything else cleared, with my amazing cast introduced to everyone, then I think it's time to adjourn this and say goodbye, and see you next Saturday for the actual beginning of Revenge of the Scorcher Queen.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, I will see you there.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
See you guys.
I cannot wait. I'll be preparing the stuff for you guys, maybe making the overlay a bit better. And so, see you next time. Everyone, welcome to Thageia, welcome to Revenge of the Scorcher Queen. I am Fabrizio, this was my amazing cast of players, and see you next time.